As I said yesterday in remarks last evening, the present world monetary financial system is already a dead man walking. It is walking, but it is dead. And under no conditions will the present system of government around the world continue in its present form. It's already dead. They're still moving, but it's dead. The United States and other nations of the transatlantic region are already in a state of hopeless bankruptcy. That is to say, while it's possible that a change in the system would allow governments to continue to exist, without a change in the system, the entire transatlantic region is already as good as dead economically. There's nothing in the present system, in the present transatlantic region, including the Euro system, the British system, the United States, and South and Central America. There is nothing there that is going to be alive much longer, except for a sudden change, a change which is overdue. And thus, you see a pattern around the world. It's less obvious in the Asian sector, the Pacific sector, than in the transatlantic sector. We're now in a Schumpeter style of what's called creative destruction. And this system of creative destruction is what, in a very advanced form, a very insane form, a wild monetarist form, is crashing. It is already crashed. There is no condition under which the debts represented by the bailout and similar kinds of things in Europe and elsewhere could ever be paid. And the only way the debts are kept alive is by a sort of cancerous growth, self-growth. So unless we get rid of the debt, we have no nation. We have no civilization. And that's already the state right in the Western sector, that is in the transatlantic sector. There is no hope of any recovery anywhere implicitly under this President of the United States and under this British system. Because the amount of the increase of an absolutely worthless debt as value, as money, is the cancer which is destroying the world. And without ending that debt and wiping it out, which Glass-Steagall would do. But the problem is, those who control the system, the money managers, the Wall Street types, the London types, say, if you apply Glass-Steagall now, in the United States, the application of Glass-Steagall in the United States now would mean wiping out Wall Street. I don't mean in discomfort for Wall Street, I mean its existence. I mean the bleak faces of dead buildings in Wall Street. It's gone. The whole system is gone.
As you just heard from Mr. LaRouche, the pattern of uprisings around the world are a function of the current collapsing global system, despite what many in specific local expressions of that may think is merely an overthrow of a corrupt government. After all, what exactly is the difference between the dictatorship in Libya and the dictatorial aspirations of President Barack Obama here in the United States? In one case, we've had decades to witness the effects of the horrendous policies adopted by Gaddafi. In the other, we already know what the outcome will be if we allow Obama to continue making policies like his Hitler healthcare. And, as we see in Wisconsin, the governor there has also followed suit. Tyranny is tyranny despite whatever stage it's at. But we must remember that tyrants are largely creations, either of forces like the British Empire or by virtue of fervently perpetuating popular destructive beliefs of that empire. They turn themselves into tyrannical figures, tenacious in those beliefs that will destroy them and the nations they claim to be governing. As we see more and more in our United States, the tendency to hang on to the beliefs of this dying system is fueling the revolt within. Recently, in both Providence, Rhode Island and Detroit, Michigan, for example, their school systems have been under attack to try to close monstrous city budget shortfalls. In Rhode Island, the school district plans to send out dismissal notices to every one of its 1,926 teachers, an unprecedented move that already has union leaders up in arms. In a letter sent to all teachers Tuesday, the superintendent, Tom Brady, wrote that the Providence School Board on Thursday will vote on a resolution to dismiss every teacher effective the last day of school. According to Brady, they have been forced to take this action by their March 1st deadline, given the dire budget outlined for the 2011-2012 school year, in which the school district alone is projecting a $40 million deficit, while the deficit for the entire city was well over $50 million last year. In Detroit, it's no different. State education officials have ordered the emergency financial manager for Detroit Public Schools to immediately implement a plan that balances the district's books by closing half its schools, which has seen massive protest by unions and others in the recent days against the plan, which is said to attempt to wipe out Detroit's $327 million deficit by 2014. When you add what we already know from other cases where our states have adopted these kinds of austere policies, you have to look to the source. None of the states, none of the governors would be obligated to impose fascist austerity on the people if the policy was not coming directly from the White House. With Obama remaining in the White House, there will be no relief to the states, and unless more people recognize that fact and turn their justified rage towards getting Obama out of office, not just their local governor, and restoring Glass-Steagall, don't expect the situation to change. Expect it to get much, much worse. But there are some other lessons we need to learn if we are to have a successful revolution and not a failed one. The first lesson is not to reduce what is going on around the world to the overthrow of perceived tyrants. We must understand that the systemic enemy that has created the mess, not just the messengers. Here's what I mean. In 2008, the American people became sick and tired of the reign of Dick Cheney and his puppet George W. Bush Jr., whose policies gave us a virtual dictatorship after 9/11, and a war in Iraq which acted more to destroy the United States and its morale than to free those in Iraq. The American people, not so much by seeing very much virtue in Obama, but in their rage against Bush, voted for Obama, who, as we now see, but should have known earlier, is not that much different than W. Obama has continued the war in Afghanistan, the bailout policies begun under Bush, but has even taken it one step further through attempting to pay for those bailouts by cost-effective measures, killing you through his health care and other policies. Now, a reaction occurred in 2009 against this insanity, as many in the United States saw that the change that was promised during the election came up just a little bit short. As the 2010 midterm elections came around, the American people saw those Democrats that went with the Obama policy as betraying the interest of their very own constituency, and they became the enemy. So the American people vowed to get them out of office, and on election day, that's exactly what they did. But what was the alternative that came in? No alternative at all. The batch of Republicans voted in have shown themselves to have a very strong bond with the policies of Obama. Their first agenda has been to cut Social Security, which is 100% in tandem with the Obama Cat Food Commission plans. And as we're seeing in the states right now, they will cut everything that our citizens depend on to survive in order to balance the budget, as they say, or, in plain English, to protect the bankers and kill off the population. So over this entire period, does this not remind you of the failed French Revolution, whose people tried to emulate the American Revolution, but ended up with Napoleon instead of freedom and liberty? Why have we fallen into these traps over and over again? Because we have not yet understood the systemic problem that politician and citizen alike has accepted as popular belief. The disease of monetarism. It's all about money. Fortunately for us now, that system of monetarism is finished, as you heard from Mr. LaRouche. But it's no guarantee that we won't repeat this terrible history unless we overthrow not just Gaddafi and Walker and Obama, which is a necessity, but to overthrow the beliefs we adopted as members of a society governed by monetarism, and also to adopt a new, more truthful standard for organizing mankind as a whole to bring about a bright future. Now, this means that we no longer honor money, we honor our God-given gift of human creativity. It also means that we must apply this creativity to harnessing the principles of the universe in order to increase the quality of life on the planet as a whole. As you've seen on this website, this is very well defined through the extended domestic and foreign North American Water and Power Alliance projects. These projects represent not just millions of new jobs, which we need, but it represents the next era for civilization as a whole and an upshift for man's power over nature. So for all of the protests going on, for all the revolutions being sparked right now around the world, it's this concept of the future that we must succeed in getting right now, and not just another politician or government. So the sooner we wipe this British monetarist system off the face of the planet through re-implementing the Glass-Steagall Act, the sooner we can begin to turn justified rage into something a lot more constructive and rebuild this world out of centuries of tyranny. We'll have more features which will provide greater definition to what the proper concept of a viable future is on this website very soon. But for now, watch the weekly report in full, which is only found at LaRouchePAC.com. That's all for now. This is Ed Hamler signing off with your World in Review.